it's Lena, and it's our third video about the Romanov dynasty. But first, I'd like to ask you, how do you like my background? Do you recognize this artwork? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Well, today we'll talk about the new Russian Emperor, Peter II. His life was short but filled with events that predetermined other events in the years following his rule. In our previous video, we talked about the life of Peter I, the way he entertained himself and his citizens, the unique love affair with Catherine I, as well as about Peter's death and Catherine's rule after that. When it was her time to go, she named Peter I's grandson, Grand Duke Peter, the new heir, who was only 12 years old at the time. We also got to learn about another big influential person of that time, Prince Menshikov, who was in charge most of the time. After Peter II took the throne, everything was unfolding according to Prince Menshikov's plan. It was he who ruled the country, held the highest military rank, and got his daughter Maria engaged to the young Emperor Peter II, who he moved into his own palace on the Vasilievsky Island. This palace still exists and is now a branch of the Hermitage Museum. And if you ever come to St. Petersburg to see it all in person, make sure you don't miss this palace. But seeing this palace with us will help you to make the most of your visit. Prince Menshikov had only ruled for a couple of months before he got seriously sick and became a target for his enemies, which he had many. Peter II was still a kid at the time, and his father, Peter I's son, Alexei, got executed, and his mother had passed away in childbirth. So he had only one family member around, and it was his sister Natalia. But she was just a year older than he, so she couldn't really support him. So Peter II became a pie everyone wanted to have a slice of. The corrupt politicians lied their way into Peter II's heart and made him turn on Prince Menshikov. And all Menshikov's attempts to make a deal with Peter II had failed, and he was stripped of his regalia and banished from St. Petersburg to a faraway town with all of his family. Right now on your screen you can see a painting, Prince Menshikov in Exile, and if you want to learn more about it, click here. Prince Menshikov later was moved even further away, this time to a place in Siberia in the middle of nowhere. They took all his money and wardrobe, and once the richest man in Russia became a hobo, forgotten by everyone. But it was not the end of his trouble, as his wife died on the road. But Menshikov never gave up. He continued to work to be able to support his family. However, 6 months later he died. And he was definitely a self-made man, just like many around Peter the Great, who started with nothing and got everything a man could want. What about his daughter's fate? It is still disputed by historians, and some believe that she died on one of her birthdays, shortly before her father's death. Some say that she had one of the noblemen who was falling in love with her, and that he had followed her all the way to Siberia, where they got married in secret, and that she died in labor 1 year later. She was buried together with her children, and when her husband had died, according to his last will, a medallion was brought into a church where they got married. Inside that medallion there was a lock of blonde hair, which is believed to be hers. And this fact was discovered when they tried to find Prince Menshikov's grave. After the fall of Prince Menshikov, the power got into the hands of another family, Dolgoruki family. And Peter II became best friends with the kid of their family, Ivan, who was 7 years older than Peter and was heavily into parties. So Peter got into parties, hunting, and other fun in no time. He would gladly learn everything but ruling the country. 6 months later, Peter II had moved the capital from St. Petersburg back to Moscow. Officially, it was announced that the court went there for the coronation ceremony of Peter II. But in fact, they had never returned. And probably it was the worst thing that could happen to St. Petersburg, as it was completely abandoned. The grass would break through the sidewalk and half-finished buildings were left alone, standing all over the place. But still, the city survived, as Peter I did so much in 25-year period, it was impossible to stop it. Though Peter II's rule was short, some big events happened during that time. In 1725, shortly before Peter I's death, he had sent an expedition to Kamchatka to see if there was a strait separating Asia and America. And a man called Vitus Bering was leading the expedition. It took them over a year to cross Russia and to get to the Pacific Ocean. And in 1728, his ship found what today we know as Bering Strait. This brave and fearless captain had sailing in his blood. Later that year, he traveled to the shores of America again, but once landed on desert island, where he died, surrounded by his crew. Today, this island bears his name. After Peter II had moved to Moscow with his court, all he did was hunting and enjoying his life. Russia was of secondary importance for the young emperor. Foreign ambassadors of that time wrote that it seemed like Russia was rapidly falling back to the time before Peter I. Peter II was quickly turning into an adult, and his contemporary wrote that he was a difficult and spoiled person, and he was hostile to people who dared to give him advice and continued to party non-stop. But the only person he listened to was his sister Natalia, but she shortly died of TB. Other people who surrounded him never disagreed with him, were shallow and plain stupid. His best friend Ivan's father wanted Peter II to marry Ivan's sister Catherine, a pretty and young lady, but she was already engaged to someone else. And she didn't dare to say no to her father, so she agreed to get re-engaged, this time to Peter II. A rumor said that on their way back from the ceremony, the bride carriage did not fit onto the low gate of their palace, and the gilded crown decorating the carriage top fell into the mud. People who witnessed it saw it as a bad omen, and exactly 1 month later, Peter II got sick after being out in the cold for some time. What started as a cold quickly turned into a smallpox, and 2 weeks later, Peter II died. It all came as a surprise for everyone, and right before he died, he said, "Saddle up the horses, I'm on my way to meet my sister." Dolgoruki family, his best friend's family, wanted to use this moment to take power, and they showed everyone Emperor Peter II's last will, which was fake, where he named his bride Catherine as a successor. However, another family close to the emperor had surpassed them, and on January 18, 1730, had chosen Duchess Anna, Peter I's niece, as a new ruler. And this was the end of the short period of Peter II. In our next video, we are going to talk about Anna. You'll learn what happened during her rule, what a cruel ruler she was, and we'll talk politics, all the backstabbing, and other events that happened when she took over the throne. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed watching it, please drop a like and check out other videos on this channel where we talk about the city of St. Petersburg and some famous Russian art pieces just like the ones that we briefly mentioned in this or other videos. Click subscribe button to support this channel, and please do not hesitate to ask us anything in the comments below. If you're on Instagram, please follow us there to see the photos we make to share some views of Russia as well as some famous Russian interiors with you. Thank you for watching, stay safe, hugs, and see you in a couple of days.